doubters, debaters and debunkers. Good morning from sunny Phuket. You can see the hills up there with the clouds still hanging about there. It's quite cool to see. Just dropped off my kids to school, so I thought it was a great opportunity to say hi and just talk about how useful or anything new is in helping you unlearn the conditioning that we're all brought up with, really. And that's one of the main things Flat Earth does, isn't it? It forces you to reevaluate the programming. People are always arguing about the concept and this and that and demanding all sorts of proofs. But you have to explain that, well, you don't have any proofs in the first place. You have concepts in your mind, and then most people come along arguing with concepts. And it's really important, this whole thing, whether you know, of course it will frighten you anyway, but it shouldn't do. It should be an exercise, a mental exercise in discernment, and that you can use in any aspect of your life. It's, well, have I been told the truth by the people I believe to tell me these things about who I am and where I am and what's what? Yeah. Why do I believe those people in the first place? Think about how things become consensus, and look at the emotional things that occur with it. You know. And so the challenge is really, of course, the more you identify with a certain belief, the greater that challenge is to deprogram yourself from that belief. And that is important for any aspect, you know. But Flat Earth is a really good one it really highlights the issue, doesn't it? Because it is entirely conceptual, and it's which is actually very significant. Very bright. I mean, we see cultures. Different cultures often find it very difficult to get along, and so what's actually different about them? We're all human beings. We all experience the same kind of thoughts or emotions or suffering, but we so often misunderstand each other or find it very, very difficult to accept other views, other ideas, especially new ideas. But really, the challenge for any of us should be, well, okay, there's an idea that makes me react angrily or defensively. And so the challenge then is with that individual that feels offended, challenged. And yeah, so the challenge is to try your best to see if you can break free of the programming and conditioning that has shaped your opinions. And opinions are a result of identifying with a certain idea about who you are. And that, of course, comes down to things like qualifications or jobs or status. Yeah. It's possibly even just one important aspect of this is that, again, useful for anyone, regardless if you care about space and things like that, is just understanding that no matter someone's position or perceived authority or status, we're all just people, from business people to political figures. Yeah, we're all to royalty. We're all just people, and so you can pretty much guarantee that if you experience a certain emotion, other people are going to experience it too. Of course, one of the traits with so-called flat earthers or truth seekers that's often misunderstood is well, yes, there is often ego involved, because you feel that you found something out, and but ultimately it's one of wanting to share and help others. It's driven from a kind of compassion to help set others free. But I suppose one thing I've learned a lot is, well, you certainly come across a huge variety of personality types, don't you? And so that in itself kind of creates a greater awareness of the diversity of opinions and people. But ultimately, you can always boil it down to a few aspects of the human personality, can't you? I can't read the chat, by the way. I'm watching the roads. Just taking it. So, for example, check these guys out. This is quite a normal sight. Now you would, all these guys in the pickup truck there. They have to have total faith, yeah. Now that's the kind of thing that could make you absolutely livid, because all these people are being put in danger. And yeah, there are some horrific things that happen there, which would seem to be, well, people just don't seem to think about it, don't seem to think about the danger. And again, every day here, there's 3 up on a bike there. You encounter things that conflict with the programming, and that's, I'm sure, anyone who's spent time in another culture or tried to adapt. It is very challenging. You're immersed in this culture, and you see that they do things which shock you or just aren't the same as what you were brought up with, and of course you can react. Often it's a very angry reaction. Yeah. See these people all along the sidewalk here selling their wares. It's kind of like they've obstructed any place that you can walk. People end up walking on the roads. People end up coming at you. I turn out onto the main road, or you turn out anywhere, and there's always going to be people on motorbikes that are taking a shortcut and coming down the wrong side of the road to you because they don't want to go and do a U-turn. So, but it's not even frowned upon. It's just kind of normal in this culture. And so to drive here, one has to adapt to that. You have to, you know, if I pulled out and I didn't look both ways because I wasn't expecting someone to come in the wrong direction, well, I would have, you know, I would end up suffering the consequences of ignoring the reality of the situation, regardless of what is supposed to be, what should be. And this is again an issue that any one of us will have when encountering ideas or new concepts, or just things in life. Oh, it's supposed to be like this, it's supposed to be like that, it should be like this, it should be like that. No, there is no supposed to be, there is no should. One thing I'm trying to kind of impress upon my kids at the moment is that life is meant to be challenging. It's not supposed to be an easy ride. Of course, you can't talk about, well, I remember saying to my parents, I didn't ask to be born. Well, maybe I did. I don't know. But this is the thing, isn't it? We are born into this existence, and it's a challenge. But we always have a choice. If you approach it with the mindset that every day is a challenge and it's going to be an adventure, when every day you have opportunities to meet people, to cross paths, to make some kind of impression on someone, or even learn something for yourself, right? There's opportunities every day that can be life-changing. It just depends whether we will take those on board or accept them. Yeah. So that's this again. This is what I say to all these globies. The challenge is not for the flat earther to prove that it's flat, or to prove that it's not a spinning ball. The challenge for any baller is to see if they can deprogram what they've been conditioned to believe in, and see if they have the ability to question the contradictions that are so obvious. You know, call out your own thoughts, your own contradictions. These are just skills worth developing in life, right? In any situation, you can like, rather than unconsciously escalating certain situations, you can just become the observer. I'll always remember a very good question that was put forward to a monk that I was watching once, and the question was, is it okay to use violence to defend yourself against someone who's attacking you physically or violently? And the monk never actually answered the question in that way. He ultimately the answer was that you can live a life and have an attitude and create an energy about you that ensures you never get into that kind of situation. You don't get into a fight. So I thought it was a wonderful example of how often we have these questions which are a yes or a no. They're a kind of dichotomy, yeah? There's a left or a right or a wrong. But ultimately, there's always an alternative way of thinking about it, or a way of deconstructing the dichotomy. And again, this is this so-called debate and arguments we have between flat Earth and globe Earth. It's a dichotomy because ultimately it's not replacing one model for another or one belief for another. It's ultimately deconstructing the belief that's being conditioned into us and then leaving it to our senses and discernment, and having the ability to free yourself from any of that and not feel that you have to have something else to replace it. There's one thing I'd like to just quickly address that's come to mind is I often hear well, for example, people think that you'll hear an argument, oh, it only works on a globe or a heliocentric model. We could be talking about anything. Of flight plans comes up, and there's this claim that, well, if you want to profess the Earth is not a globe, then you have to come up with an alternative. And that's not the point. The point that there's nothing, again, nothing changes. Yeah, you see the sun up there? All right? Nothing changes about what we see. Again, this relates to any aspect of life. You see things and you have a certain perception of how things are. The whole point and the challenge is to disassociate yourself from the perception which you hold in your mind of what you see. And that's, again, it's often programmed. Yeah. So, for example, navigation and all these things, the globe projection, you don't need to change anything. It is what it is, based on the boundaries or the certain points, such as poles and timelines that we've been given, or date lines and time zones and things like that. Nothing changes, it works, but it doesn't mean that you travel across scripture, because perspective, the geometry of perspective, is the imaginary curve. And in order to communicate things in an objective way, you need an objective format, right? You need an objective projection. And of course, things like perspective are entirely subjective, where the sun might appear in the sky, or a celestial object. It's all subjective. And so is time in any given location. But you know, trying to communicate these subjective things becomes, well, it's pretty much impossible, isn't it? So an objective projection has to be created. Again, all fine and dandy, no problem. But the point is to use discernment. You see this truck backing up a cow? There was a guy trying to get the cat out of the way just now as well. Truck carrying a cow. I wonder where that's off to. I should. Damn. I'm supposed to get some breakfast for the kiddie winks. That guy, he's got a helmet, but he's carrying it instead of wearing it. Oh dear. And so, yeah, life is challenging. It's supposed to be. And the only way we learn is by challenging ourselves, isn't it? So a lot of the time, it's tough love, just like you do with your kids. You kind of certain things. Well, you just can't hand it to them on a plate, can you? Flat Earth is a great example of that. People will demand this and that, and then you give them the answers, but if they are not prepared to do the research, or they want it all served on a plate, but even when you serve it on a plate because you've done the research, these things don't just appear out of nowhere. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to get something here for my charges. You just pull over. Okay. Quick look at the chat first. All right. Cool. Hi. Well, welcome everyone. Ronald Layton. Okay. Do I live? Yes, this is Phuket. Ronald. Hello. You seem to be. Hello, Brian. Yeah, I've seen put some good stuff out there recently, Brian. Tone dial. You're a runner, says, just wondering because I'm hoping to sell me a boat somewhere cool before I die. Well, Phuket's a good place to come. Happy Mushroom. The difference between Flat Earth and Globe Earth. The people standing in it will say the other is wrong, and they might be right. Maybe both are incorrect. Oh, yes. What's that? Turned out. That's true. You love the kamikaze scoot. Okay, come with me while I just go get some grub. Okay. Oops. This is an international school, the British international school, well beyond my means. Costs about the price of a car per, but all right, let me get myself some fried chicken. Cup. So. This is safety first. Come here, see hall cup. Sec. That's it, back up. Okay. 80 baht. Oop. Yeah. Gong cap. Cap. Lottery tickets for sale here.ลอตเตอรี่ออกวันไหนครับออกวันที่16
มีลอตเตอรี่เป็นด้วย
ซื้อถูกไหมรู้ไหม
บ้านของมีไหมลอตเตอรี่
ฮะ
บ้านอยู่มีไหมลอตเตอรี่
มี
ด้วย
แต่ต้องเติมเฟอร์เอง
อ๋อ
นี่คือต้องแบบคิดเองเลยหรือไปอะไรเนี่ยที่เขาลบเขาเรียกอะไรเนี่ย
อะไรก็ได้คือเขียนลบไปใช่ไหม
ลบไปว่าถูกไหมโอ้ยไม่รู้อันนี้แค่เป็นชุดเลยเหรอหรือยังไง
นี่200
อ๋อ
2 ใบอันนี้ใบเดียว
ได้ใช่ไหม
ได้แล้วใช้อะไรนะคะ
อะไรนะครับไม่รู้ลองดูนะ5 บาทอุ๊บ
ดึงเลย
100ใช่ไหม
ใบเดียว
โอเคขอบคุณครับอ๋อเจ้าแรกเหรอขอบคุณครับ
ถ้าถูกมาเอาไก่
Okay. Okay, so there's my probably not a winning ticket, but you know, support the local community. Who knows? No, I've sometimes you know, I've noticed when I get when I'm in a very clean state, I do have visions and premonitions. You know, when I'm not. I did when I found that. Right, oops. So, put that away, back in the car. Hang on a sec. Put you back in there. Alrighty. Okay, where are we? Quick look at the chat and we'll carry on. Yeah, sorry about the phone thing. I usually do a landscape, and I tried. Usually, it just gives me the option to. I tried several times when I was setting up the live stream, but this time it just didn't allow me to do it. So it's like this. I'm sorry you got the girly view today, but usually I do it. Yeah. Oh, hello, John Keen. I see the moon every day where I live. Clear skies, no chemtrails up there with the sun. Surely it should be on the other side, lighting up Australia at night. Yeah. Brekkie incoming. Yeah. That's right. Oh, the moon was beautiful last night. I tried to capture it with some video, but my camera's really not any good anymore. But it was behind some clouds, and it was rising, and I'm not sure whether it's actual full moon, but it was a nice yellow, but it was creating kind of crepuscular moonbeams. It was fantastic. So actually it was, creating an even darker patch of shadow from the from the clouds. Yeah. So again, these things you look at the shadow, the way light plays out and things, and all these assumptions that are made, and it's ridiculous. You realize that every single assumption is backed by nothing but more assumptions and explanations, yeah? So it's good to see some new faces in the chat. Maybe it's because of the time that I'm doing this. So thank you for coming along. Nice to meet you all. If anyone ever does want to come out to Phuket or has plans, then get in touch. You'll find my email in the about thing on my YouTube channel, I think. Nick@stretchoutmedia.com. Currently in the process of sorting out visa arrangements, which is always a pain. Always a big pain and a bit of stress and worry. But I do find that these days again, the flat Earth realization is part of this. You know, it's just part of an awakening journey. And again, it's understandable if you come across it for the first time and you're not on the journey. But one thing to think about is that no matter what, people come into our lives and affect us in certain ways for a reason. There's always a reason. So even excuse me, too much talking. You know, even the people that give you negative experiences, they are the greatest teachers. We must learn from them. Yeah? And sometimes the most difficult thing is learning from the people that are close to us. Especially, you know, sibling rivalry, agreements, and things that happen to, you know, some... often people that are supposed to be the closest end up being the furthest apart because they just can't learn to live with each other or accept each other's ideas. And again, these are challenges that we are faced with in life. It's one one big adventure. Right, I'm lucky enough to be able to go in this way today. All right. So welcome to the neighborhood. One of Phuket's best kept secrets, this is. It's a lovely neighborhood. It's the first gated community in Phuket. It's about 30 years old. And there's quite a few Farangs living here, foreigners, and some Thais. I don't own a place, I just rent. But as you can see, it's nice wide roads. And houses are each kind of like, I suppose people were in the beginning were able to buy plots of land and then have their own house design made. Yeah. So anyway, I'm coming back to my house now, and I'm going to have to crack on with dad duties. I've just done my first deployment of children. Got the next batch to deal with now. Yeah. So I shall love you and leave you, and hope that we've been able to share something that's conducive, constructive. Glen Souch, yes, I see them all the time. The halos around the moon in Phuket. Yes. What's that? Happy mushroom? Off topic a bit. I bought a compass from China. It points south, not north. Is this a thing where you are? Well, maybe they just put... that's the thing. How do you know where a compass is really pointing, you know? It's so funny because, yeah, you could just stick the... It depends where they put the red paint on. John Keane. Never be closed to new knowledge. Experience old people cannot grow new neurons easily, so their old opinions stay locked. I'm old too, but my mind is open to the new. Nicely said, John. Appreciate that. I think that's very true. And yes, I kind of rule I try to lead by is, you can always learn, as we are each other's teachers, right? We can all learn from each other, no matter. And I would say yes. The older you get, it's unlimited, isn't it? The things that we can learn. I'm just backing up so that my neighbour can get out if he needs to. Gotta be a bit considerate here. So yeah, I agree there, John. And again, that's a challenge, isn't it? That is part of the challenge. And maybe a lot of us end up kind of reaching a certain age, and again, the way that society indoctrinates us, they lead you to believe that you've achieved something that you identify with, and that's enough. But we never stop learning. Excuse me. Let me back up a little bit more. All right. Let's hope the neighbour can work himself out of that. So, all right. I'm going to love you and leave you. Disco Bay. Hey Wolfie. Is Wolfie in here? Whatever. Yeah. Yeah. I see Wolfie came into my chat when I was previously streaming, and then seemed to assume that I ended the stream just because he'd turned up. This is the typical kind of superiority complex that we're dealing with here. No problem. All right, anyway, I gotta go. I got things to do, so I don't have to worry about trolls too much. Thank you very much. Let's catch up soon, and have a great day. All right. Bye-bye.